Alright, welcome back to Modern Mondays here at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon. We are here in our fourth and final round. I am Quentin Wolebski, joined by,
Eric's Village.
and we have, I don't remember the players' names. We have Zenon from round 2, or 3. Whenever he played against Chris, he's playing the Devoted Druid deck on the right. And then we have Justin Armstrong playing Hardened Scales, which is a deck that Justin has been playing for a good while now, at least 2 to 3 months. On the left. Um, Interested to see who won the die roll, because the linear combo aggro decks, like Devoted Druid versus like Hardened Scales or Burn or whatever. It's just sort of like whoever wins die roll usually. I mean, there is some play either way,
Right.
but it's really hard to.
I feel like Hardened Scales has the opportunity to out-nut draw Devoted Company.
Oh, definitely.
They can do their combo slightly faster with less pieces, in my opinion.
And
Um,
also, sorry. And also Ballista insulates them against all of the combo vibes.
Exactly. So Hardened Scales has some natural main board, basically complete hosers for
Yeah.
Devoted Company.
Basic forest, noble.
And it looks like Justin has 2 in hand right now. So it looks like Zenon, Fetch, Shocking, plays Noble Hierarch, probably off of. Oh no, just fetching. Fetching Forest. Turn 1, Inkmoth Nexus, Welding Jar. If he has a couple more zero, it looks like he has a Mox Opal for sure. He can make any color of mana he wants by tapping the Inkmoth Nexus.
Right, making it into an artifact, so he is able to activate the Mox Opal. Unfortunately, it does not seem like Justin has that Hardened Scales in hand.
Mox Opal, the most powerful filter land.
Yes. Legendary filter land, no less.
I'll go to 16 and play Knight of the Reliquary.
Knight of Reliquary being a 4/4 on turn 2 is fairly powerful.
And also specifically against the Ballista plan of keeping off his combo with Ballista is like very relevant. Either this Knight's just gonna kill him, or he's gonna have to use a Ballista on it, which is gonna make it way harder to stop the combo later. He does have 2 Ballistas, so maybe he can afford to throw one away. But
At the rate he is drawing not relevant 2-drops, it looks like it will be a long and hard road for Justin to get a foothold in this game, as that mulligan seemed to not treat him terribly well.
Yep.
likely naming Construct.
Popping down 2 1/1 ballistas, the construct giving these ballistas counters as they enter.
Metallic Mimic is an interesting card to be playing in this deck. I've seen some players play that. Some players play like Black Green and play the snake from Standard, last Standard.
Yes, Winding Constrictor,
Yeah.
a famous combo, quote unquote, with Verdurskir Hulk and Standard,
Oh,
amongst
wow.
other cards.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
For a non-standard player, I know a lot of standard cards for some reason.
Well, those are no longer even in Standard. They both rotated, right?
Well, it's not like they're really in modern either right now.
No, they're pretty irrelevant. So this Knight of the Reliquary is now 5/5.
Winding Constrictor not coming down anytime soon in this game, as Inkmoth Nexus doesn't tap for any color.
I really like the art on that card.
Yeah, it is very pretty. A lot of the blue, or the black-green cards have a bluish tint.
Yeah. Maybe it's supposed to be like the cool lighting effect or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the light reflecting off of the murky water of
Yeah.
the swamp sort of thing.
So Zenon is just playing Naya, or not Naya, just playing Junk mid-range. What was the color combination called? Abzan. Abzan mid-range.
That sounds completely disgusting, but I'll
We can
let
call
it
we can
pass.
call it Junk if you want. Either way.
I'm an old school player. I like my
You like junk rogue?
Junk Siege Rhino mid-range decks.
Definitely.
Siege Rhino is new school as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, definitely. Anything past Return to Ravnica is just like that's new cards. I don't know what you guys are doing with those new cards.
Justin drawing a basic forest and putting that Spellskite down. Not going to do terribly much against the Devoted Company draw.
Oh, this is some synergy right here. Tireless Tracker with Knight of the Reliquary. He's just making all the clues.
Fetch down to 16.
I have you at 15 right now.
Or 15, sorry.
So you'd be going
Going
to
to 14,
14?
yeah. I didn't get the
So
last one.
That's okay.
Zenon going to 14 off of this fetch. I believe he fetched earlier to get the swamp, and
Yep.
the players
Get a
missed,
deck
or
down
one
in
of the
a second.
players
Okay.
missed that. This Knight of the Reliquary, I believe, is now 6/6. No, 7/7. There's 5 lands.
Correct, it is a 7/7, and it appears Justin is currently hellbent with no cards in hand, which is fairly unfortunate. These welding jars are going to gain him some life
Go to my turn.
eventually, but none of his creatures block either of Zenon's creatures very effectively, being able to sacrifice the clue to draw a card and pump the tireless tracker makes it able to kill Spellskite, the highest toughness creature on Justin's side. Eternal Witness, Cord, and the Ranger in hand for Zenon. Looks like possibly 2 Eternal Witnesses.
I definitely saw a Duskwatch Recruiter in there.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. So it looks like he's gonna EWET back a land, and then play the land.
2 more clues.
Very likely going to be a fetch land,
Oh.
unless he just doesn't want the clues.
Don't think lands
And values the
really
life?
Nothing I can do about that with Spellskite.
I don't think his life particularly matters.
No, even a top decked Arcbound
Oh.
Ravager won't do very much in this scenario.
But Knight can sacrifice the forests, but only sacrifice forests, right?
It sacrifices force or planes, so
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you fetch a shock land, you can still
You can get either.
get
but
something else.
But this allows him to fetch whatever he wants. No attacks from Zenon.
Well, so does a fetch land, arguably. But you get an extra clue out of it, you just lose 1 life.
Sure.
Unless you're intending to use the untapped forest for some
Shenanigans.
shenanigans, which he currently doesn't have any shenanigans afoot.
So he can do what right now? Cord for 1?
Correct, he can cord for 1. He can cord for 1, play another Eternal Witness, and cord for 2, which doesn't get him to the combo.
He would need cord for 2, cord for 2.
He would need cord for 2, but currently
Yeah.
he can only cord for 1.
Yeah.
Talking about the getting the untapped force versus thinning the deck and getting an extra clue at the
Yeah,
cost
yeah.
of 1 life.
So on Justin's side, he has a lot of 0 mana artifacts, but no Ravager or anything. Zenon is currently at 0 infect, but it looks like that Justin is going to start attacking with this Inkmoth Nexus
1 infect.
rather than...
And pass.
Well, he has no other good attacks here. He is currently no cards in hand, has no other options.
Sure.
Arcbound Ravager makes this, valid line
Effectively
for.
lethal, right?
Sorry,
It makes an Arcbound Ravager next turn makes it effectively lethal. 'Cause
correct.
He has
If he draws
8
Arcbound Ravager,
artifacts.
it is lethal. If there's no interaction,
Yeah.
you're correct.
So I like that. I like that line. I think that's pretty good. He can also try to not die.
Well, he's not doing anything with the mana currently.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's no real reason for him not to attack in that scenario.
Oh. No, this doesn't do anything though, right? I was thinking that he could float a green and then activate his knight and get another land and then cord for 1 more, but he
The only
still
thing
can't
that
get
it does
another
is
knight.
it gets you a clue and makes your reliquary 1 larger,
Yeah.
and
No, you got it.
pulls another land out of your deck,
You went this.
which does have some relevancy,
You're right.
which is also confusing why he didn't get the fetch to
No, that's right.
further thin his deck.
Oh, he can crack the
Okay.
clue now,
I don't feel as bad.
I guess, with the
Right,
green floating.
with the floating.
Yeah. I still don't think it's better than a fetch. Maybe
I'm gonna tap.
he's like,
Green floating, crack the clue.
No, because Justin would need like a Hardened Scales in order to kill him with the Ballista.
Well, Ballista isn't close to getting more counters or anything. You would need an Arcbound Ravager
Ravager, yeah.
and a Hardened Scales, and in that scenario,
That's like 2 cards.
he's already dead.
I
Yeah.
sacked the forest. I floated a green.
Well,
sacked it.
yeah.
With just the Arcbound Ravager. Arcbound Ravager, not a construct, it is a beast,
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay.
in fact, so will not get pumped by the Metallic Mimic, but still will be
Everyone knows
lethal
I've
with
got my
Inkmoth Nexus.
So, looks like Zenon is threatening to go off next turn by courting for 2 in his end step to get a Devoted Druid, and then casting Vizier and Duskwatch Recruiter next turn and just killing him. The Ballista on 1 does make that kind of hard, I guess. Right, because the Vizier just like instantly dies.
Correct.
I guess you can just keep making mana in response, right? So you need to like missequence your spells.
Well, Justin is going to wait until the first sacrifice goes off, the first part of the combo to go off the tap of the Druid, and then go to kill the Vizier, so you don't get infinite mana. So
But
if
you would need 2 counters to do that, right? Because you can just untap the Druid in response and tap it again.
that is correct.
Yeah. So Hardened Scales off the top here, so I'm going to 2
DOT,
infect.
1, 2, 3.
Hardened Scales is okay, because if all else fails, he can add 2 counters to Walking Ballista with his 4 mana available, as opposed to 1. However, it does appear that Zenon is going to likely be able to combo out Justin on this following turn.
Trigger.
Yep.
I'm gonna exile Ballista.
That's weird.
Oh,
The
actually,
detention sphere effect
Yeah.
creature.
Deputy of Detention. They have very similar names. So Deputy Detention is a 1/3 with functionally the same text as Detention Sphere. And it's
Yeah, that ability.
It's 1 white blue for a 1/3 Vidalcan Wizard.
Justin, recognizing that he can sacrifice the Spellskite, its primary job as a creature, to take the bullet, as it were, for a Walking Ballista, to keep that option alive for the future. This does considerably slow down Zenon's potential combo, unless he is able to find one half of the combo through the Collected Company in his hand, or the Duskwatch Recruiter.
I'm really surprised he didn't attempt to go off in the end step.
Especially with Justin having no cards in hand,
And
it
no
is
mana.
questionable. Additionally, playing the Vizier out here is also questionable.
Yeah, with no Devoted Druid in play, this is just bizarre.
He is able to play Collected Company with this mana, unless he...
Maybe he's just on the hit you for 1,000,000 with my Knight plan.
I mean, that is the plan I would have been on a long time ago.
Me as well. This Knight has been huge for like 5 or 6 turns now.
And so has Tireless Tracker.
yeah.
There's been no good blocks for Justin for the Tireless Tracker for several turns.
and draw both.
However, sometimes when you are a combo player, you are more focused on assembling the combo or how you get to the combo than actually killing the opponent in less fun ways.
Yeah.
I have done this once upon a time as a combo player myself.
Well, what combos do you like the most?
I first entered Modern with eggs when Second Sunrise was still
like
legal.
Like the Sifka deck?
Huh?
Like the Sifka deck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stanislav Siska's
Yeah.
eggs Second Sunrise deck,
Yeah.
which got subsequently banned 2 or 3 months later.
Yeah, that deck was weird.
Yep.
Reshaping Lotus Flame was like...
Wonderful.
yeah, it's definitely something. It's
Beautiful.
definitely something.
Absolutely beautiful.
So what's really funny is that, like, it was Faith's Reward that really pushed this deck over the edge, right?
Right, because it was the 4 through 8 copy of Second Sunrise.
Exactly.
However, Sunrise was the card that was banned because it was the cheaper Face Reward,
Yep.
making only 4 copies available. Besides the 6 mana, both players return all
Oh, open the vaults?
open the vaults, correct?
Yeah.
Which is slightly too expensive because
a
it's
lot
twice
of
as
mana.
many,
Yeah.
twice as many.
Twice
mana.
as many mana. Same number of white pips, though.
That is true. Although even if it was 3 white pips, it wouldn't matter because Lotus Bloom
Yeah,
is
it's just
free
like-
of any color. Woohoo.
Shoot and shoot.
Yeah, that deck had some really interesting play patterns. The whole Ghost Quarter your own lands to like second Sunrise and get all your lands
Correct.
back. It was great.
Or Cracker Clue.
But that tells you what type of player I am, as my first modern deck was eggs.
Yeah.
But in Legacy, my deck was Storm, Ad Nauseam Tendrils,
Sure.
Draw turn.
which I no longer play because I sold that deck.
It's probably fine. I don't know. Lion-Side Diamonds are really expensive now.
Unfortunately, I still have all the revised list cards, but it was
Reserve
more
list
of a
cards, yeah.
reserve list cards.
Well, that would be too
As an
horrible
investment.
to put back. It wouldn't be like too horrible to put back together then.
No, those are the bulk of the deck.
7
Yeah.
and 5 as of now.
So it looks like Zenin coming in.
Alright, no blocks.
No
Take 12.
blocks. Justin's gonna take 13. I think. Zenin may have effects before damage. If he uses this Ghost Quarter, I believe it's 13. If not, I think it's 12.
Think about it.
Yeah.
It does appear to be currently 12 points of damage. There are 2 or 3 clues on the battlefield, as well as lands that are able to be sacrificed on Zenin's side to boost damage. However, there's no immediate need to do so,
Yeah.
unless he is trying to draw to something specific, which he has plenty of action in hand, and there's no reason to try to push for 1 extra damage in this particular case. Zenin is still only at 2 infect, making Inkmoth Nexus not really a win condition unless Arcbound Ravager is drawn shortly.
So Ballista getting the second and third counters, effectively locking Zenin out of comboing.
At this point, combo isn't the
No, he's just gotta kill him with his Knight of the Reliquary.
exactly.
This was a very interesting turn for this game to take. I feel like Zen has sort of pivoted a little early,
Fine.
Yep.
but
Like a company?
Yep.
The playset of
oh,
collecting
just
companies
Viserys here. That's pretty funny.
showing their face there.
I will like the block.
Okay.
And then before damage, I'll sack itself to scry.
Yep.
Okay.
Pass.
So I'm pretty sure Justin's dead here.
Draw.
It does appear to be the case. I don't know if he is actually dead.
Well,
One,
Zenin
two-
can crack 2 clues,
Yep,
and then all of his attackers are lethal, so lose 1 blocker.
yep.
Go
You are
to
correct.
attackers.
I suppose he can shoot. Yeah, he can shoot the deputy to get back the.
Spell sky.
Although if he moves to blockers, that play is no longer valid.
Correct. There's no reason not to go for the kill here, as Walking Ballista will not kill. Well, he actually cannot go for the kill here because he did not attack with the 1-3.
Yeah, take 5.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
So he goes to
7.
3. Is that double or triple Death Squatch Recruiter from Zenin? I feel like it's triple.
Death Squatch.
Yep.
Death Squatch.
Yep.
Go to my turn. Or go to your turn, effects on your upkeep.
Okay. Untap.
Flip trigger.
Okay.
Oh wait, never mind. Sorry. Never mind. I thought
He
it was
is confusing that with the other side of the card.
What's the name
At
of
the
the
beginning of each upkeep.
Yeah. I messed up. I thought it was like.
It needs to be
yeah.
no spells for
Gotcha,
the
gotcha.
card
Yeah.
face
Okay.
and 2 spells for the reverse face.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway,
Doesn't
psycho,
flip.
yeah.
Alright. Untap, upkeep, draw.
Yep.
Man, if werewolves transformed immediately, that would be so much better.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
You just like play a cantrip, play your Hunt Master, get your Hunt Master ETB, flip your Hunt Master, get the backside ETB.
Right.
You're living the dream, man.
Well, you know, it's not like you can predict full moons or anything, so there's no way that would be possible.
Krista?
Yep.
Man, both Innistrad blocks had such like flavorful cards.
Justin is
Good luck.
playing it out for the sake of our viewers and us here in the booth,
And pass.
as there is no possible combination of cards besides Arcbound Ravager that could have won him the game there.
I think the Arcbound Ravager was even like too far gone several turns ago.
Order that.
Yep.
Go to attackers.
Yep.
If you want to get a basic land.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and go to attackers. You got it.
Arcbound Ravager would have been enough. It would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if you activated Inkmoth Nexus and moved to Ballista, which is 15. Kill him. He's at
Oh,
14.
because the one.
Because
Yeah,
the hard
yeah,
scale,
yeah,
so it
yeah,
moves one extra as well.
yeah, because when you move them, it also
Correct.
generates one. Yeah, I missed that.
That's how it goes.
Arcbound Ravager still lethal, but not drawn. Unfortunately for Justin, but he was on the back foot for the majority of that game.
So players going to game 2.
Zenon likely has some cards along the lines of Reclamation Sage and or that new green-white knight that is similar to Reclamation Sage that can also become a 4/3,
Oh,
gain
Knight
4
of
life.
Autumn.
Yes,
So it looks like
Knight of Autumn.
Justin put Wheel of Sun and Moon into his deck from the sideboard, which is an interesting piece of graveyard hate. It doesn't do anything to the things that are already there, but if a card would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, I believe, it goes onto the bottom of its controller's library. And it's only the enchanted player.
And it does stop Kitchen Finks.
Yes.
It doesn't stop Unlimited Mana
No. Or Ballista.
or Ballista. So that is a interesting sideboard choice. Stops one of the combos, not the main combo.
Card is really, really good against blue-black mill.
Correct.
My friend was playing one in the sideboard of his Vanifar deck, the like Vanifar deck. He was playing one or
There
two in
was
the sideboard, and he
one,
was playing a PTQ at GPLA, and he played against
Tireless Charger
blue-black
Blues
mill, and just like
trigger
locked the player out because he
call
didn't have an
out
answer
stands
to it. It's like, yeah, you
Pretty
can
sure
never
I
win.
played one
Sorry.
land, yeah.
Oh,
It was just
yeah.
one.
Also
The only
decent
one that I
against
saw.
Dredge.
I just figured I'd let you
Yeah.
know.
I can miss those.
Yeah,
And
so the-
Phoenix.
I did it all the
Yeah.
time.
Well, so
Just
the problem
figured-
is it doesn't do anything to the cards that are already
when I
there. So
played
anything that's
my-
like,
Very true.
I don't know.
you know, anything that's gonna like care about putting more stuff in, you're like, okay, good. But if it's like, oh, you already have 2 Phoenixes in the yard, and
In
these
that
are
deck,
gonna
there's
get
a lot of
recurred,
triggers.
it like doesn't do anything. It's not.
Personally, I prefer effects such as Relic of Progenitus, especially in decks where a decent chunk of your lands are colorless only as well.
Sure. Or like Ravenous Trap.
Sure, Ravenous Trap.
Relic of Progenitus can also be sacked to Ravager, which is added upside.
Give it a shot.
Hey, 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Also has the hidden text of protecting your own cards from Surgical, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, when I crack the clue, you put a counter on it, then you draw. And that one's pretty, you know, you have to resolve that one in order, but if I miss the land one, oh well.
So players game 1's taking half an hour. May
It was a
just
little
be-
bit drawn out. Zen not really attacking with his creatures early on, dirtling around a little bit.
Yeah, both
Didn't
players.
realize he could attack and kill his opponent.
Yeah, both players
Looks like
played
a fun
like
deck to play.
pretty
It's a
conservatively
lot of
for
fun. There was a lot
a
of
reason.
secrets
There was also a
that
turn where
I
Zenon could
know
have
I
just
could've
gone
done
off
better, but
and been
he
safe.
was really just
Right.
like, I have to
And just,
start
like,
attacking because I'm not going to win.
Chose
this
not
one.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why play
Probably
Magic
would've been a
if
little
you're not
more
going to have fun?
aggressive
So
on your end
That's
based
true.
on
And
what I have
hitting
in
somebody
the
with an
side, so
enormous Night of the Reliquary
swing it
is
a little bit more,
lot of fun.
But in general,
Oh, yeah,
the game
big
felt like it,
beats.
So there's really It's scary at 14 though with scales. If I have a hardened scales out,
It's cool to see that card coming back
My
into
hand,
Legacy
my
a
hand
little
was
bit
a lot
too,
of
because
dorky creatures, so like 2 and 1 power. So I didn't want to leave
since
myself.
Death Ray Shaman's been banned, you're not like
Yeah.
taxing your own
Because I was
graveyard
just
to
playing
ramp
around
stuff.
if you drew
And the decks that would normally play Night of the
Raptors
Reliquary
instead,
just
so
all
I
became
don't know.
Death Ray
I had to
Shaman
start
decks.
attacking,
Because
but I
Death Ray
didn't wanna
Shaman is
myself.
just insanely
Yeah,
broken.
yeah.
1 mana
Makes sense.
planeswalker essentially.
I know, and even when it was legal, it was still only, it was like below $5,
Yeah, it was really cheap.
which is insane.
Yeah,
Like being a 4-up staple in Legacy, and
with only 1 printing as well.
exactly one of the better, more consistent decks in Legacy.
I guess there was a Masters printing, and there's also
Well, during its surge of popularity,
yeah,
there was
only
only
one
one
printing. Yeah,
Only one printing.
and
I'll take a pain
it also got reprinted in those
Hardened scales.
those like the dual deck things
Right.
that are like for each guild. I don't remember what they're called, but it's in the Golgari one. It's pretty funny. It's like, oh, I got this band
The theme
card.
decks.
Sort of, but they're like those weird guild theme decks. So it's like the Selesnya one had I want to say Enchanted Evening or something like that. I don't know. Oh no, Privileged Position.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they all had like pretty good cards.
An early Arcbound Ravager by Justin
With Hardened Scales, this is
with Welding Jar.
pretty much the start he's going to be looking for almost every game.
Double Path in Zenon's hand. Pretty good against Welding Jar. I would be shocked if he did not attempt to path the Ravager immediately, as any other scenario has just an untapping with potentially playing another creature or being able to activate Inkmoth Nexus to move on those counters. But even then, he has a backup path to get the creature that the counters move to, so it's not the end-all be-all. Worst possible scenario is being able to activate Inkmoth Nexus or 2 creatures, or 1 creature plus Inkmoth Nexus, where 2 paths are no longer enough. If he takes the first move, that is.
You could also Deputy of Detention the Arcbound Ravager right now,
Definitely not a bad play.
and then save his paths for later since they're a little bit more mana flexible.
I'll go to 15.
It is the most mana efficient play, unless he has another 2-drop or something that he wants to develop.
It does get blown out by Ballista, kind of, though. Because he can play the Ballista. Oh, he can't play it on
No. Yeah, Ballista is only going to be a 2/2. It is 1 mana short unless he has a Opal in hand to make that a 4/4 Ballista with Hardened Scales.
Well, even
Or is
then,
that a 3/3? 3/3 Ballista, right?
well, no, because it costs XX, right?
Right, so for 4 mana,
For 4 mana, yeah.
it'd be a
yeah,
3/3
yeah.
Ballista.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about if you had no lands and just Mox Opal.
Yep. Nope, I can't really do anything about
Sack
that.
it to itself.
Not the wise play here, because if he is ever able to kill it, that's a Arcbound Ravager, arguably the best card in the Hardened Scales deck.
What do you think about his choice of Arcbound Ravager? Right?
I feel like it's the cheapest art, so if that
Probably.
was his goal, well accomplished. I think it's a fine art, definitely. It's not like bad per se.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, okay, so we did have the Mox Opal. We must have drawn it that turn, right?
Unknown. But if he is able to cast Ballista, it's not even that worth it here, because if you kill the 1/3, you
I'm partial to the Darksteel one.
yeah. It is jaw dropping.
That one is hideous.
Justin incorrectly activating the Summoning Sick Inkmoth Nexus to get in for 1 and tapped the Inkmoth Nexus that was already in play the turn before. But Zenon lets it slide. Very kind of him to do so.
Well, so both Inkmoth Nexuses are just in a superposition of one is Summoning Sick and the other is not. And you just get whichever one you want to attack with.
Sure,
Yeah, you just always tap. It doesn't matter.
I guess. It's F&M. We don't
Yeah.
really care too much about those
No.
things here. But, it's the little things that make
Yeah.
you a better player.
Definitely. If you were playing like a comp RAL tournament, you would definitely want to make
Yep.
sure that you're separating them and making sure you're tracking which one is which. Cause
There
otherwise your
is the
opponent
Pro
could be-
Tour coming out
Oh yeah, that is. Is that, when is that? A couple weeks from now?
next weekend, I believe.
That sounds right.
Either that or it's the qualifier.
Well, so
It's very soon.
and also not for this upcoming PT in London, but I believe that we have PTQ or sorry, MCQ
Right.
for Mythic Champion Barcelona coming up here at Guardian Games at the end of May, I believe. I believe it's
Yeah.
the last weekend in May.
I believe so as well. Additionally, we do have the pre-release for the new set,
Oh
Spark
yeah.
of the War of the Spark,
Yeah, I'm very excited to play
next
that.
weekend. There's Friday night, my favorite. You get to
Did you play spell this turn?
stay up late,
No.
start
This turn-
your seal building at midnight, where everybody is at their peak brain capacity.
Yeah, nobody's tired and like miss playing at midnight.
No, definitely
Never.
not.
Everybody's well rested, had like a proper meal,
Yeah, definitely not like
got
come
all
home
their
from
macros
work.
in.
Yeah. But first opportunity to get your hands on those new cards. Until Thursday, there is a sign up discount. If you sign up early by Thursday, the 25th, you get a $5 discount for $25 for the pre releases this weekend, down from $30, which is at the door. And there's also a $50 two-head giant on Sunday, if that is your
Two-headed
thing.
giant's fun.
Two-head giant is fun, especially with planeswalkers all over the
Oh man,
place.
that's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah,
The board states are gonna get so complicated. It's
definitely.
gonna be like, oh man, what do all these do?
It's gonna be like EDH except sealed.
That sounds great. Sounds like an actually enjoyable EDH format. So, looks like Justin has made several land drops, and we have a flipped Duskwatch Recruiter. I kind of lost track of what was happening in this game. I got derailed by talking about the pre-release.
We just had a
That's a
ancient
lot of
stirrings
Inkmoth
for a
Nexuses.
worker.
I have effect before damage.
Oh my god, that's a lot of Inkmoth Nexuses. Ooh, does he have another deputy?
Score for 2.
Cord for 2.
Likely grabbing a combo piece.
Perhaps a Spellskite?
Malira.
Nice.
Oh.
Malira, a small blowout against triple Inkmoth Nexus.
So he's just gonna take 3 damage instead.
Correct.
So Malira is like
So
a
it turns into regular damage?
alternate
Yeah,
copy of Vizier
Interesting. Alright.
that is legendary
Eric
and used to
12.
be an enabler for this hilarious,
And that's all I can
also top tier pod deck.
It's also kind of curious that Zenon had the timing that he did, because since he was only at 3 Infect and Justin was tapped out, he could have gone from 3 to 6 Infect and flashed in Malira at the end step
Where did I?
and been safe at 6 poison counters and not lost the additional 3 life. Stayed at 15.
You have me at 15.
Sure.
And I have you at 3.
And 12 is in that range where if you get Arcbound Ravager and Walking Ballista, especially with Hardened Scales out, you can die out of nowhere.
Yeah, very quickly.
And then that's all I can do. Pass.
So did 2 spells get cast? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, only one spell from each player, a Ancient Stirrings on Justin's side and a Cord on Zenon's side for that turn.
Yeah, because it's 2 spells by a player, right?
Correct. Malira, definitely, like you were saying, a callback to the good old pod days
Yeah.
and Splinter Twin days, etc. I would say ad nauseum, but it wasn't popular back then.
Was not popular. Yeah, that pod deck was really very interesting. It like evolved over time so many times. Like at one point it was playing Spike Feeder and Archangel of Thune. And other times it was playing just Malira, Red Cap, and Viscera.
Kiki, pod.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of different versions.
14.
I was preferential to the junk version that played Malira. And
That was
Red
the most reliable version, I
Yeah.
would say. There is an interesting quote-unquote pod deck out there running about with that new 2/4 elf
oh yeah,
pod-like creature.
I've played a lot of that deck since it's come out. Actually, it's super fun. It's not nearly as good as the old Birthing Pod decks, First of all, like, you can't activate it the turn it comes down.
A little more fragile.
Yeah. And it dies to creature removal. Like, it doesn't die to
Exactly.
bolt,
Dies to push.
only revolted. Okay.
Yeah.
And it also dies to, like, dismember and a bunch of, like, other stuff that's, like, running around. But it is cool because you can interact with it in, like, a different way than the pod decks could, because you can actually, like, you can, like, have creatures that interact with other creatures. Anyway, we should probably focus on the match. So the Malira is still alive. Arcbound Worker came down.
Yep, after the Metallic Mimic on Construct, making it a 3/3 for 1 mana. Justin is definitely on the back foot after that Kitchen Finks that Zenon played, bumping up to 14 and potentially threatening a combo.
Yep.
I mean, he could just beat him down and kill him, right?
That is currently the game plan as I see it, but if you're able to fish out
Okay.
a Viserys here with these
Dustwatch Recruiter.
Dustwash recruiters, you're able to gain that infinite life there with the Malira on the battlefield currently. Again, a solid strategy when you can't die to infect and your creature-based deck can't deal infinite damage.
I mean, he could always just draw a Ballista and kill the Malira. It's just a 1/1. So, being at 3, like, he could eventually die to infect.
He could.
Although most players, I think, would concede to infinite life.
I feel like the beatdown is going to happen before he would die to infect.
Did he draw the Ballista?
It does appear that he drew the Walking Ballista. However, it's not super helpful in
Just
this
as a
scenario.
9. So you could kill the Mimic. Oh, he has all these Inkmoth Nexuses, never mind.
It's good for killing the Mimic and being able to attack with your Duskwatch recruiters.
Sure.
He does find the Vizier.
Which is just another Malira.
Correct.
Effectively. I mean,
Correct.
it doesn't stop the infect like Malira does, but...
Now that was interesting. I personally likely would have played a 2/2 Ballista to ping the Mimic
Yeah.
and have it be regenerated by the welding jar there, and then ping it again to be able to attack with your Dustwatch recruiters without it being able to be traded off. You have a two-turn clock in that scenario.
Yeah. Also, then you don't have to worry about, like, a Ballista killing your thing and him getting Ravager and then just, like, instantly killing you. Since he has 7 lands in play, he could always just get...
I'm gonna
Well, keeping the birds back makes Ravager kill not really possible,
activate,
since he is still able to block there.
and I'll block 2 Duskwatch and take 3.
Okay. So this one will die.
Both Duskwatch recruiters going to hit the bin.
Duskwatch with Metallic Mimic, and then 2 on a Duskwatch.
Oh, so they both die. Okay.
And then I take 3 and go to 6.
An avoidable tragedy, rather. It is curious that he did not use the welding jar on the Mimic to have another blocker.
And you're spinning. Yep.
Zenon feeling confident enough to run out that Ballista on 1 and tap that birds as a Arcbound Ravager no longer threatens lethal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 would be the amount of counters on that Inkmoth Nexus, which makes it 1 artifact short of killing Zenon.
Last turn.
So Zenon very likely going to wrap up the game this turn. Well, what did he draw?
I didn't quite catch it. It is not a combo piece, or the other part of the combo piece, rather. Or it would have been played. As Justin has all his cards on the table, as it were.
Gonna activate.
Attacking with the Malira.
Inkmoth.
Okay.
Now, I believe Miller is a 2/2,
Double block.
and not a 1/1.
Yeah, I think I'm wrong.
So
It's
this
legendary,
attack makes not as much sense.
Yeah.
So. Well, so he can pump the Ballista
Put 'em
and
on.
then
Yep.
just ping him twice and he dies.
5.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
And then-
Counter.
Yep. Again.
Again. Yeah,
And that is our match.
yeah.
Oh, his top deck would have been a Ravager.
Ravager.
Tragic.
That's
Tragic, but still slightly too short. Unless he
Yeah.
had one more turn.
I don't know.
I don't think
Because he did draw another Inkmoth Nexus, which could have been sacked.
so.
Yeah.
However, again, the bird's still there, still flying.
Yep, still blocking.
Yeah, you definitely
All right,
had me on the
well,
ropes both games, like
I
the whole
think
game.
we only have 4 minutes left, so I
The thing
think
like
we're
about this
gonna
is that
call it a
this one
night.
I
I've had a great time here at Portland Paper and casting some Magic.
Thank you very much for listening with
Yeah,
us.
that card's really
We will be having another stream this Wednesday for Legacy. Be sure to catch that, and we will be back next Monday.
Yeah.
This is Eric Savilich.
That's a good
And
plan.
Quentin Walewski.
Have a good
signing off.
night.
Double path seemed to had a much better chance throughout the game, and the double path was tough.
Yeah, my opening hand was pretty cool. Birds, double pass.
That's
To, what is it? Just Watch Recruiter. I was like, well, if this bird dies, I am in trouble. Then I drew.